So they were forced off their lands. Some of them were threatened and killed off their lands. Some of them actually committed crimes and had to leave. Okay, because they knew that for whatever reason, it wasn't anything malicious, but they were protecting their families.
Right.
Right.
So
They had to abandon them.
So they had to.
Yeah.
A lot of people left overnight. You looked up and they stopped everything and got out.
So, welcome back to Married People's Business Podcast. I am your host, Michael Tolbert. I'm here with my beautiful co-host.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm Shalise Tolbert.
Okay, so we want to welcome you back to the podcast. And, this podcast is all about highlighting positivity in married couples and partnerships and collaboration.
Yes.
And we have found the couple for you.
Yes,
Haven't we?
We have Nathaniel and Robin Shannon they're the owners of Shannon Farm and Homestead. Welcome.
Welcome,
you.
guys. We are
Thank you
we are so proud to have you here. And this episode of this podcast is Farming While Black.
Yes.
That's the name of it. So, we really were interested in this area of urban farming, and we tried to find somebody that can really give our viewers and our platform some ideas about kind of the importance of Black farming, not only from a social context, but also from a health context.
Yeah.
And we just thought of you, and we did the research. We vetted you. You guys were good. You came highly recommended from some people that we know.
Yes.
So we're just going to just delve right into it and just ask first that you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your business.
Well, as you said, we're Nathaniel and Robin Shannon, Shannon Farm and Homestead. We're co-owners, and we've been in farming for a few generations, actually.
Wow.
Our grandparents, great-grandparents were farmers.
Mhm.
Our parents carried it on by just, with their gardening. And we, obtained some of those skills. And we started off just as gardeners, and then it developed into a business.
That's great.
That is great.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah.
So he started off really when we got married in 2009 in our backyard. It became his therapy.
Oh, his therapy.
His therapy.
From who? Therapy from who?
See, look at you starting stuff
From the people that work.
already.
Okay. I see you, Playboy. I see you. I see how you dodge that question. I like Nate already.
I would go out before I would go to work in the morning. I'd go out, I'd play in the dirt, weed, do whatever I had to do. Then I'd come in and get ready to go to work. So it kind of mellowed me out before I went on to the job.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And I did read your bio, and it kind of struck a chord with me because I believe Robin, I think you said your grandfather, or was it your father that had a farm in the small farms area?
My great-grandfather actually had a farm in the small farm area. He had pigs and chickens and cows and horses, and it actually fed our family.
Right.
Wow.
Through the years.
Yeah, that small farm area we're very familiar with, because that is an area that for a long time was really the last vestige of the agricultural era that still existed in Gary, Indiana.
The city of Gary.
And you saw a lot of people still raising cattle, like you said, pigs, and still growing their own food. And right now, if you drive through the small farm area of Gary, you don't necessarily see the vibrance that you used to see maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So one of the things that I thought was very fascinating about this industry was, based on the statistics, they look like they started keeping statistics right around 1920. About then, there were about 1 million farmers, which is about 17% of the farmers in the country. And all the way through 2017, it appeared that due to a lot of different problems with discrimination from the Department of Agriculture, farming declined. Black farmers declined all the way down to less than $50,000, less than 50,000 farmers, and about less than 2% of the farmers in the population. What do you attribute kind of that decline to, and how do you think we can fix it?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. During the Great Migration of Blacks from the South to the North, a lot of land was left. A lot of people believe that it was because of the industry in the North, but a lot of it was because of the oppression in the South. Okay, so they were forced off their lands. They were some of them were threatened and killed off their lands. Some of them actually committed crimes and had to leave. Okay, because they knew that for whatever reason, it wasn't anything malicious, but they were protecting their families.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They had to abandon their
So
land.
they had to
Yeah.
go. A lot of people left overnight. You looked up and they dropped everything and got out. So a lot of land was lost that way. Not just in the 20s, but even up into probably this century. Okay, people have been forced out of the lands. You had no protection from the government, federally, statewide, or locally. Okay, you didn't have access. No matter how hard you petitioned, you were not included in the process.
Wow.
So then that leads me to ask, what made you all decide to make this a business? How did this go from your therapy to a business?
Good question.
Wow, great question.
Good question.
It evolved in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Okay.
It started, like I said, it was just my therapy, and I begged my wife to let me have a little postage stamp in the yard so I could just grow something. And
Okay.
she gave up her little spot. A couple of flowers had to pass away, and
I like the way you put
that. I was very sad.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. And so I started growing a few things: tomato, squash, peppers, and it started getting a little bigger. And she would not utilize that produce. So I would get some of it away. So one day I brought in a bell pepper. I set it in the kitchen, and after a few minutes, she said, "What is that?"
I was on the other side of the house, and I could smell the bell pepper.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
And
that's fresh.
So I hollered from the other side of the house, "What is that?" And he said, "Come in here and look." And it was a bell pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never smelled a bell pepper like that in the grocery store, obviously.
Right.
Not at Value Mart. You didn't smell the bell pepper
never,
at Value Mart.
Never.
That didn't smell like that. Huh?
Didn't smell like that.
Or Walmart, the
County
Walmart
Market,
bell peppers.
any place, And so there was a huge buy-in. At the
oh
moment,
wow!
Okay.
To start utilizing what he was growing. And so it started to evolve from there. We were growing so much produce that we were giving away a lot of what we were growing.
Oh wow!
By the bushel.
By the bushels.
Yeah.
And people started paying us literally for what we were growing.
Uh-huh.
And as life happens, my husband lost his job.
Okay.
And things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband came to me, and you could tell part of that.
Yeah, I was, we're in the middle of the night, and it was raining that night too, because I took some kale over to our family members. And I mean, when I say a lot, it was on lawn bags. I had a lawn bag full of kale.
Yeah.
And I took it over to one of my relatives, and I came back and said, baby, I think we have a business here. And we didn't know anything about farming at that time. Mm-hmm. It was just, this is a garden that we had, and we can do something with this. So we started to listen. We started to read. We started to delve into what farming meant.
I said no.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh wow.
Why did
I
you
said
say
no? Because it was food. People were shopping for food. Okay. And even though we came from a farming background, I just thought, no, nobody's going to buy this. We're giving food away. Who's going to buy this? Mm-hmm. And people were giving us donations. And I just thought, no, we're not ready for this.
Wow.
We didn't know enough about farming ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, as things happened, he lost his job. And so we started to really research.
Yeah.
And attend workshops and seminars. Mm-hmm. And, we just started really delving into what this means. And as my husband would say, we were broke adjacent.
Broke adjacent.
We were broke adjacent. We were like really kind of close.
We were having first world problems, middle class first world problems. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it as a setback. This is what happened, and this is what we got to deal with.
Okay.
Okay. And I started listening to certain things. I would get up on Saturdays and listen to C-SPAN. Okay. And Kaufman, I believe is his name, was on that day, and he had written a book it's called Bet the Farm.
Yes.
It was on how food stopped being food. Okay. And we all know that, they have food commodities, okay, on the stock market, but it started to be traded differently. And I don't know if you guys remember, this was back in the early 2000s, where the price of meat just started to just shot up.
I remember that.
Overnight.
Yes.
That's when it started to happen. The market said, let's push the price of food and see what they'll pay for it.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it became more of a capitalistic tool,
yes,
as opposed to a nutrition piece.
Absolutely.
And we started paying attention more to the G8 summit and how food moves throughout the country.
Throughout the globe.
The globe, yeah. And so that's when we really started studying how food moves and what it would mean to us as a business.
Okay.
That's very interesting. So, yeah. And one of the things that I think I find fascinating about this industry is really the holes and the gaps that it can fill, particularly in impoverished areas. And, right now in Gary, Indiana, and urban areas across the country, there are food deserts everywhere where people don't have access to fresh food, fresh fruit, in some cases even water, although that's a whole different topic.
Right.
But
same,
what is
the topic?
Yeah, you're right. It is the same topic. But what? Let me ask you both of you a question. What role do you think that Black farmers could play in maybe changing kind of the landscape of African American areas, particularly as it relates to food deserts?
Education, and just be involved in your communities. We've always had farmers. The difference between a gardener and a farmer is a farmer just sells his product. Okay. So, educate, one, the kids, and two, you'll find that a lot of what we call our young adults don't know what fresh food is, like you mentioned before.
Yeah.
We're from a gas station society and a convenience store society, where that's where we get our food. Potato chips right next to the produce section. If they have a produce section, so they don't know what fresh food is or how to cook it, how to prepare it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something that one, you have to be involved with, your community and instructing.
And then understanding the difference between food apartheid and a food desert.
Okay.
A desert is a naturally occurring event. Okay. Deserts occur. Deserts are not man-made for the most part. Okay. Deserts happen in on the globe. Food apartheid is planned.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that. The food apartheid aspect of what are you telling us?
Well, what I'm saying is that let's take a store like Walmart.
Right.
Okay. Walmart does not have a store in Gary. Okay. That's planned. Okay. They'll put stores around you. Okay. But they're not going to put it right in your community. If you look at the quality of food is graded, so you're not getting A quality food. You're not getting B quality food. You may be getting C or D quality food.
Wow.
But still paying A quality prices.
Wow.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And you can pay quality prices because the government is pushing the society into a food stamp society. So you're not really paying for it per se. Government is paying for it out of tax money. Those monies are going back to the farmers and to the government.
Right.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So our part of our mission is to get involved in that money chain and in that food chain. So we want to show people that they can grow and how to do that. One simple task that I've challenged people to do is when you purchase something. Let's say you purchase some tomatoes. You go to your local grocery store, you buy some tomatoes, slice them up, you make your sandwich, you do what you do. Okay. But what we overlook is that there's seeds in there. So you just bought a garden.
You're
Right.
creating a seed bank with everything that you buy that has seeds.
Wow.
Save them.
That's why in your GMO process, they were creating foods that don't have seeds, or the seeds won't germinate.
That seedless watermelon is just not it's not natural.
It's genetically
at all.
modified.
To keep you from growing your own product.
Absolutely.
I never thought about that. Good Lord.
So I like the way that you just tied in your mission. I just want to give our audience, what we've read your mission to be is to teach people to be self-sustainable, to grow your own food and feed your family. And everything that you just said. I mean, you just given us a wealth of education just in those few sentences that you've given us here today. So
I think I'm gonna go home and try to grow a pizza. Can I do that? Do they have seeds in the pizza?
Well, they did.
And that tomato that's on there.
Oh, okay. Shoot, I might be on to something here.
You might be.
But actually, no, while you make it fun now, the toppings that we get on our pizza, we get spinach and I
That's
get
right.
basil and, occasionally garlic. So there you go.
All of that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of fresh food, you brought us some goodies today.
I was gonna get to it because
okay, go ahead. I'll let you because I'm I'm trying to hurry up so we can get to this food.
Right, because I was about to narrow them down, see how they got down to just specializing in these beautiful collard greens because they smell so. Y'all look, my favorite coming up: collard greens and cabbage.
Why don't you grab one and put it up to the?
I can't.
You can grab one out of it. Just grab one.
Grab one leaf?
Just grab one.
Can't grab a leaf out of it without knocking down my microphone and stuff. The way it's positioned there. Okay,
there you go.
Here we go. I'm knocking stuff over. Here we go. Look at that. Beautiful green leafy collard greens.
And this is from your farm.
Correct.
This is from your garden.
Farm.
Okay.
This is from their farm. So
it was harvested, I said, about an hour before we arrived here.
So that's real fresh.
This an hour before they came to the interview. First of all, I feel very honored and special.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Would go ahead and harvest them right before.
And I feel very honored because she's gonna have to cook that like quickly.
Look, I already got it in my head.
She can't let that sit up, right?
And
she got to cook it right away, right?
Because they're organic, right?
They're organic.
Chemical free.
The sooner you cook them, the more beneficial they are.
So you hear that, Shay? You can't put them in the freezer, baby.
I already got some, already in my head, some hot water cornbread.
See
right along
those
with
don't
it.
have no seeds. Those do not have seeds.
But you can't have collard greens without hot water cornbread.
You got to.
That is true.
It don't work with Jiffy. It don't work with plain. Hot water cornbread.
What else did you bring?
So they got some other things here too. But tell us how you got down to collard greens, and then now what you're expanding to here.
Yeah, and tell us what you brought.
Well, how we got to the collard greens though really was just we finally narrowed it down from everything that we began growing from the very beginning. And deciding what was most asked for in our farming business.
Okay.
And it was the collard greens.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
We know that in our community, we eat greens several times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what was most asked for. And collard greens grow the longest in the season. So we can grow collard greens from like April to December.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is.
Oh, wow.
So they have the longest growing season.
Okay. And so we've got some jars here. What's in these jars?
Well, this is our sweet and spicy relish, Robin sweet and spicy relish. And this was developed. This is what we will call a value added product from farms.
Okay.
And it's created from surplus.
Okay.
And so this was originally created by me from jalapeno peppers. We had a surplus of jalapeno peppers on our farm, and so much my husband said, I got too many peppers. What do we do with this? And I know you can find a recipe. And I went in the kitchen, I started playing around and came up with the recipe.
Okay.
We originally had 6 different hot sauces. And this one came out and became our star.
Okay,
Wow.
so I have to ask because I remember growing up, my grandma, my auntie used to like this stuff called cha-cha.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff would clear your sinuses when you open it up. Are we talking that spicy and that hot?
Well, no, actually, and it's
Okay.
not. It's people think it's like a cha-cha. Number one, number two, it isn't,
Okay.
and because it's made with jalapenos, cha-cha is made with cabbage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sweet on the front end and spicy on the back end.
Okay.
And so it's got a lot of versatility to it. You can eat it with greens, you can mix it with tuna, chicken, egg salad. People are showing us a lot of different ways they can utilize this product.
Okay.
So what's really awesome about this is that as we've grown in our business in the homestead, we now have a broker.
Okay.
We now have a food manufacturer.
Oh,
all right.
You're growing.
Look at that.
We have grown tremendously in
the last 3 years.
In the 3 years, but we've been making this product for about 6 years now.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, is that are you selling that direct to the consumer, or is this on a shelf somewhere?
Right now, it is direct to the consumer, but we are in negotiations for private label. And celebrity endorsement, and with several restaurants.
Wonderful. That
we'll be praying for you guys in that regard, and
thank you so much.
And anything we can do to support that, we definitely gonna buy some because it looks delicious, and what you brought today looks really good.
We are excited about it.
Yeah, we're excited for you.
It's moved in a direction that we never thought that this would happen. Who knew that when we started in our kitchen with this product that we would actually have a food manufacturer and we would be looking at private label at this point.
Look, I can do some marketing for y'all for real.
And you know what? You have Nate to thank.
You're right.
He needed some therapy
because they needed therapy. He twisted your arm, kicking and screaming, and just like a good man, good husband, like us husbands do, Nate. We have to open up the curtains for our wives so they can see outside. Absolutely. They can see the light.
It's interesting you say that because
I'm not sure that I hear all of that.
one of my things that I live by is being outside of the box.
Okay.
I hear that that phrase a lot. Being outside of the box, thinking outside of the box, and I tell my wife that if you're thinking outside of the box, that means you're still in it.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So we have to get outside of the box.
I like that.
Got it.
I like that.
There
Nate.
is no box.
There is no box.
I like that, Nate.
Right.
And I learned that from a developer in St. Louis. I want to say his name is Sullivan. I don't recall the conversation. He was a hoteler, and he that was one of his concepts that I took advantage of.
So how long have you, I said a nice little joke because I wanted to ask really about your relationship. You guys are just a beautiful couple, and that was the other reason why we wanted to have you on. So for our audience, you didn't get to see some of the little stuff before the shot. Like before I wish we could have got this on the shot, but behind the scenes, Nate had a booger in his nose.
You are so extra.
And Robin took her index finger and her thumb and went inside that man's nose.
That's not what happened.
That's what I saw happen. She took and went inside his nose.
It's all good.
And I said, Shalise, go inside, and she wouldn't go inside my nose. So we got to get to the Shannon nose booger picking level.
No,
that's how you know when your marriage strong.
Nobody was picking boogers like Biz Marquis up here. Okay,
I said
it was
that's when
just
your
a little
marriage.
flake on the side,
it was just
but I got him
something that she made sure he was taken care of, just like I do. You'll be like, hey, you got a little
Man, you ain't never came nowhere near my nose.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show you the gesture and be like, do that.
I said that is a strong marriage right there. That is a strong marriage. So how did you get to the booger picking level? I need for the people that's listening, and for our audience, our Married People Business podcast audience, That's listening. They want to know how to get to the booger picking level. How did you get to the booger picking?
History.
Yeah, we need to hear it because everybody wants the booger picking level.
Oh man, we grew up next door to each other.
Oh really?
And when you saw him, he was like, "I'm gonna pick his booger in his nose one day."
This was 6 months old, and he was 5 when our parents moved next door to each other.
Oh wow! So you guys been knowing each other a long time. They got us beat, Shay.
They do.
60 years.
Oh,
wait. Let me see some ID.
Yeah, right.
Talk about 60, whatever.
That is phenomenal.
I am 61 and he is 65.
66.
So how long have you been married though?
15 on October 9th.
Oh, okay. That is wonderful.
Got an anniversary coming up in a couple of weeks.
We do. So we've been friends for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. And that is just fascinating. And how is it working together? Because the story that you shared earlier in this podcast, a lot of times, when two forces unite, it's not always easy. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to create this podcast, to encourage people that are married and that want to go into business. You don't have to, everything doesn't always have to be perfect. There are going to be disagreements. Right. There are going to be maybe one spouse that doesn't necessarily see it right away, like in this instance, but the bottom line is just trusting each other and staying together. So how did you get to that level of comfort where, Nate, you said this is the vision, and Robin, you said, well, I don't quite see it, but I'm going to trust my husband and take a leap of faith. What did it take to get to that point?
It took time. It took, believing in each other. We had totally different experiences. Okay, I was more on the technical engineering side. She's more on the social side, would you say? Okay, so we've got to a point where we realize each other's strengths. Okay. And we are, and we're still working at it. It's not,
it's not seamless.
No, because she'll tell me I'm wrong, and I'll tell her she's wrong. And we duke it out.
And then she picked your booger out your nose
all the time.
And then y'all like, oh, we back. We
Wait
love
a
each other.
minute. She said all the time, like he just always got boogers hanging out. See what you started?
It's always something.
Yeah.
But because he's a guy. But we figure it out and we work through it. And the one thing about my husband and I is that we talk about a lot. We have really great communication.
I can tell.
And that is what attracted us to one another. Is that we have the ability to talk about a lot of different things.
Not just farming, but life in general.
We have a lot in common. We have great conversation, and we laugh a lot.
That's key.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely key. We laugh a lot, and we also know when to go to our corners.
Okay.
You have to be able to respect one another's space.
Yeah.
But we had to learn one another's strengths and we had to learn one another's weaknesses. And sometimes it took a while, really. It did, because we both came from management positions. And so having that individual strength, I'm used to commanding an entire staff of people and directing people here, there, all day long. And, sometimes you come home with that mentality. Yeah. And it's hard to take that hat off. Being a really strong female, sometimes you have to learn how to kind of take it down and allow your husband to be a husband sometimes. Right. And so, and you don't want to be.
That's excellent. That's excellent information.
That's the trust.
It is the trust. It is the trust to take that back seat sometimes and say, I don't know about this. And then what if it doesn't work? What's our compromise here?
Right. Right.
I'm curious. I don't know. I didn't want to cut you off, but I am curious about, I have kind of flirted with dabbling with starting a garden. And Shalise was like, you can't do it because we don't have enough property. No. Because our yard is not big enough.
That ain't even.
And she said I wouldn't keep it up either.
Exactly. It would be my garden.
I didn't want to put that out there that you didn't think that I could keep a garden up.
It would be my garden. Right. It's just like you wanting to get a dog. We don't have the time for none of that.
That's right. So what would you tell people, our MPB audience, the person that doesn't think that they can start a garden because they don't have 20 acres of land? What do you need? Kind of walk the layperson through what you need to start a garden, maybe from A to Z, just at a real high level, if you could do that for us.
You need soil, you need seeds, and you need to choose an area to grow. We not only do we have beds of cabbage, of collards, but we have laundry baskets, because we want to show people that you don't need a full, like you said, 20 acres to grow.
Oh, wow. Like laundry baskets.
Actual laundry baskets. Or you can use your pots out of your kitchen.
Oh, wow.
You can use flower pots. You just need to make sure that you have drainage.
That's it.
That's it. So it doesn't matter.
We've grown
seed and soil.
Of course, your tomatoes, cabbage. You can grow anything in a basket. I borrowed that idea from one of the local hardware stores. They were selling this big thing for like $90, and I walked around. I took a look at it. And I said, "Babe, we can do this."
Wow. Okay.
So
that is fascinating.
I got some laundry baskets, filled it up with soil, and planted in it. I'm one. You tell me I can't do it, I'm gonna find a way to do it.
That is excellent.
And this is what we teach people to do.
Wow. That is amazing.
Do you have classes? Do you have classes?
We don't actually have classes. We'll go wherever you are, and we'll show you how to teach. We'll teach you to do this.
Okay. So then that brings me to the question of, where do you all service, like with your own products? Where are you shipping? Where are you sending and selling your collard greens? I know you're not just relegated to Gary.
We are not. We actually move products across the state of Indiana.
Okay.
We've shipped as far away as Georgia. Where else? New Jersey. I think it was New Jersey. Where was it?
Maybe Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everything is organic, right?
Yes.
That you all produce. Okay. I think that's very important. And I don't know. Tell our audience the difference, or why it's important to have organic versus non-organic.
Yeah. I'm curious about that, because what you said something earlier about the grading of the food, and what I heard what went through my mind was, there's different kind of quality of foods. So sounds like what you have obviously is the highest premium quality that one could get, because you're growing it yourself without the pesticides and all the things that go maybe into a Walmart store brand. So what are the benefits of eating from your farm versus going to Walmart and picking up the same like produce?
Well, one, it's fresh. If you place an order with us and you're local, you say you'll be here at 3:00. We'll have it picked for you about 2:30. Okay, so it's that fresh.
Wow.
We're particular about what we put on it. For the most part, we don't use any insecticides. I use netting to cover the product. But as you grow, you have to be more creative. You have to use some sort of soil amendments. Okay, but you don't want to use anything that's harmful, to yourself or your clients. I mean, you have to, if it's going to be good for you, you have to make sure it's good to you. Okay. So you don't want to use something that's going to, cause any effects to your health. My wife will tell you, I'll go out and I'll pull a leaf off of any of the plants, okay, and eat them right there. Okay. So it's, hadn't done anything to me yet. I still have 11, I still have 11 fingers. So.
And then our community is like really important to us too.
Yeah.
Because, our community is affected by so many health issues to begin with, and we don't want to be a contributor to what is already existing in our community: diabetes, high blood pressure, and all of those other illnesses that are generational.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that what we give to our community, whether it's through donations or whether we're selling it, we want to make sure that what we're providing to our community is healthy, because it's a part of really what we do is a part of our ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to ensure that what we're providing is what we would want to eat ourselves.
Okay. So I got one last thing before we wrap up, because I have to let our audience know, we've been chasing y'all for like a year.
We sure have.
We tried to get them on our first season, like the second month, and they were so busy. So one of the things that I know that kept you busy was this conference.
Yes.
So tell us about the Black Loam Conference that you are.
That was I guess you have to say a gift.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had already, when my research, I looked for, other Black farmers and see who's doing this. And one of the locations, there's a historically Black community in Southern Indiana, in Princeton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I want to say it's the only existing left in Indiana. So they came to Gary. We had an opportunity to meet with them. They came by our home and took a look at what we were doing, and we've been partnering ever since. And they were doing this conference.
Mm-hmm.
They said, "You guys want to? You guys want to do this?" And I'm like, "Sure,
yeah,
we'll work with you." And we hired a publicist. And we put all this stuff together, and it just exploded.
It blew up. And now we have a 5-year commitment to do this in the city of Gary.
That's awesome.
So
it is awesome.
The Indiana Black Loam, and we are partnered now with Legacy Taste of the Gardens, which exist out of Lyle Station.
Wow.
And they provide best practices for farming and encourage African Americans to get in farming. And
Absolutely.
Is that pretty much the mission of it? Or?
Best practices as well as access.
Okay.
So now, the FDA comes in, the Natural Resources Department comes in, Land and Water comes in, and they're there so that the local farmers can ask questions and, get information. Purdue is there. The one in Indy, Purdue and IU are there. So, you have an availability that you didn't have before, and you can ask questions and you can make connections.
Yeah. And it's a 5-city initiative. So 5 cities come together to do this across the state of Indiana.
Well, that is just magnificent, and that's a perfect way to end our podcast. Yeah.
And before you end, I just want to tell you guys that I am proud of you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you.
I like what you do. I like how you do it. As a couple and as a Black couple, that's important to be, a role model.
Well, that really means a lot to us, and thank you very much. And we have great role models like you in our community that show us the way, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted this podcast, so that we can learn. I've learned so much by the married couples that come on, and you did not disappoint. So why don't you tell our audience where they can find you, and if you have some upcoming events or things that you want to share with them, this is probably the time to do that.
You can find us on Facebook, Shannon Farm and Homestead. We also have Shannon Farm products. You can contact myself, Shannon Robin Shannon, on Facebook to order our products, collard greens, and Robin Sweet and Spicy Relish.
All right.
We appreciate you guys for asking us today.
Thank you very much for coming on.
For sure.
And if you like this podcast and you like the information that you got today, what we're going to ask that you do is we're going to ask that you hit the subscribe button. We're going to ask that you like, follow, share us on all your social media platform and handles. You can listen to this podcast on anywhere that you could find popular podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google, and all the rest of the gang. And make sure, again, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us create more positive content and give you more information just like this with the Shannon share for you. So thank you very much for tuning in, and God bless you.
Thanks.
Take care.